Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to be talking about hunger in America. This is something that is often a very contentious subject when it comes to discussing the food needs of Americans. Because many people will tell you that there is no hunger in America, that it is in fact an illusion. And that is a lie. People will tell you that voluntary food donations will in fact take care of all hunger in America. That is also a lie. Of the hunger needs of America when it comes to food supplement, the donations reflect 4% of the needs of Americans. So that's 96% of their food needs come from state and federal supplements. So the article I'm reading to you is from NPR, and I'm going to quote a couple of the first paragraphs here. Nearly one-third of households on SNAP, formerly known as food stamps, still have to visit a food pantry to keep themselves fed, according to the data highlighted this week by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. In 2014, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, supported 23 million American households. The same year, 32% of all households who received SNAP in the previous 30 days reported they had visited a food pantry. The USDA says that's like over 7 million households in America. And 23% of households using the Women's, Infant, and Child Program, WIC, visited a pantry that year, has had 23% of households receiving free or reduced priced school lunch. This is mind-blowing. We are the richest country on the planet, potentially the richest country ever. And we can't keep people fed. We also can't keep them housed. We can't keep them all in the proper kinds of healthcare they need, nor provide them with the education that every American deserves. Because we are utter failures when it comes to making sure that our fellow man's basic needs, the minimum needs that they need to get through life, are met. And we have the money. We, as a nation, have the wealth to do this. It's just bafflingly, we allow the 1% to hoard it all. We spend far too much on the military. We allow far too much of our wealth to be concentrated in the pockets of the 1%, and more importantly, the 1/10 of 1%. They control trillions of dollars of our wealth. And yet we have people starving, people having to go to food pantries in the hopes of getting additional requirements just so that they can eat. And we allow this to happen. I am not one to advocate violence against anybody, but it is baffling to me why these people haven't been dragged from their homes and hung in the streets. How people tolerate this is beyond me. Why do we put up with this? Why don't we do something about it? I keep voting for the most liberal, progressive politicians I can that have a chance of winning office. It hasn't had an effect yet. We have a quote-unquote liberal in the White House. Of course, isn't. He's a central right conservative. We have fascists in the GOP. We have central right conservatives in the Democrats. The Green Party has no power, and it looks like Bernie Sanders is going to lose his shot at a nominee for president. And Hillary Clinton is a center-right conservative. 40 years ago, she'd be on the same ticket as a Republican. We have the resources to make sure that every American, every person on this continent, everyone has food and shelter and healthcare and education. We just don't care. Remember, this is the Christian America, the America that out and out just hates poor people. Heck, we don't even like working people. We love the concept of work in America. We hate workers. We don't want them to organize. We don't want them to have power. We want all the power to be in the hands of the capitalists. We want workers to have nothing. Nothing. We want them to just have to beg and plead for what they can eke out of the system of capitalism. And for all the libertarians that might see this, capitalism is the problem, not the answer. I'm really starting to like the idea of a universal basic income. I just don't think you'd ever get it done in America, not with our current political structure. Every person should have shelter and food, healthcare, and education. We as a nation would be better off that way. Think how wonderful it would be if no one in America would ever have to worry about being homeless or hungry, sick, or ignorant. Think about the sense of security. Think how the anxiety levels and the stress would dissipate. And we can do this by having higher minimum wages, by having maximum wages, by having a universal basic income, saying that no one can make more than, say, 50 times the minimum wage. Flat out, that's it. You could make 50 times the minimum wage and no more. And all the rest of the money your company makes must go back to the company. So we have strong institutions. Break up the big banks. Reduce the level of marginal leverage they have on loans, on their resources. I think it's 30 times right now. Bring that puppy down to 15. Yes, it means that it might be more difficult to get a loan, but everyone would have food and shelter, healthcare, and an education. So there would have to be fewer gambles in life. There would be more stability, more security, and people would be willing to make long-term investments that right now they simply can't because they're just trying to survive. We could do this. We just don't want to. We don't care about the hungry people. We just don't. So every time someone says this is a Christian nation, stop them. Say, do you support SNAP, food stamps? Do you support making sure that no one goes hungry in America? Do you support making sure no one's homeless and no one's without health care? Because if you don't, then you're not Christian. You have failed in your mission given to you by Jesus. It's that simple. Love your God, love your neighbor. I'm not even a Christian and I get that. And yet Christians all around me support libertarians or Trump or fascists like the GOP. And I'm starting to realize that they're Christian in name only. And that's sad. They like the idea of Christ. They don't much seem to care about his actual message. Well, dirty, filthy heathens such as myself seem to care a whole lot about their fellow man. We have the wealth. Let's use it.